I'm pretty tired. I
I think
I
you're
just-
muted.
Am I muted?
I think
Oh,
you are
God,
muted.
I really hope not. I literally said it's another scuff stream for the
Nice.
ThePreJump podcast.
Amen.
Let's go.
good start.
Now they know.
All right. Now let's try that again. All right, once again, my name is Boss Rodella. This is week 16. This is yet another scuff stream of the ThePreJump podcast. Joining me on the desk, as always, Mr. Rob, our reoccurring face here. Joining us as well, the man hidden behind the logo in the center here. We've got Mr. K Flip 11. Guys, how's your night going?
I'm pretty tired. I just moved into a new dorm room and it was echoing all over the place. So thankfully we got the audio fixed for that. But I'm ready for my brain to die because usually this is my first time on a talk show, and usually when I'm talking with like pretty much no script, my brain just tends to die on me. I just tend to fumble.
Hey, man,
Well-
that's kind of how a lot of people operate. That's why I'm just relax, have a good time. We've got probably about an hour ahead of us. It's gonna be a shorter stream than usual, but got some fun guys on here. Rob, you're always here to carry the conversation.
Oh yeah. More than anything, man, just talk some Rocket League with us, right? Like, you're pretty
Sure.
experienced in RSC. You've been around for a while. You do a lot. Everyone knows who you are. I've talked Rocket League with you before. I've seen other people talking Rocket League with you before. So just get comfortable, man. Do your thing. Like, we're happy to have you, and I'm excited to pick your mind on a few things throughout the night.
Thank you, man. That means a
Of
lot.
course. Of course.
But week 16, we are effectively Aggie. What a stud! Thank you, my man. Subscribing there.
That's my former teammate.
Shout out K-Flip's former teammate. Woo, 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 woo.
Shout out my Charlie, man.
Actually, a 2-month sub, by the way. So, been here for a little bit.
So what a stud.
That might be is that our first one?
I think that's our first one tonight, at least.
As we're on week
No,
16,
we had
is
somebody
that our
drop, like, a
second
4-month
month?
sub once, but
Oh my gosh.
Woo.
Well, shout out everybody who's taking time to do that and the money to do that. That's more appreciated than you know. So, helps us go.
100%. I was going to say, though, we're in our 4th month of the RSC podcast, week 16. I mean, I know we've taken a couple breaks here and there, but Rob, I'm not going to lie to you. When we were getting this started, I didn't think we were going to make it this far.
Yeah, and I joined in, I think, week 3. So, I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into, and I mean, it is so exciting. Quick shout out, Moose down there, fresh GM. Great guy, 4-time champ. Coming in the chat, but I don't know, man. It's crazy to have made it this far.
I don't know if I can handle if Moose gets a 5th. I don't know if his ego can sustain that.
The good news is he's going to be playing with 3 tiermans this season, so I don't think it's something that you got to worry about.
Oh God, no! Because if he does get it, it's gonna be. Well, did you guys remember back in season 18 when I took chip number 5 with 3 tier pins?
It would be even worse because, as the elite chat knows, I have my banter with Azathoth and that team for the last couple seasons, and that really is just an entire 2-season Azathoth theme so far with Moose, Skullsy, and Chips. So I would look a little bit silly if they came out and won Master 2. So I hope, all due respect, I hope not.
Oh man! But before we get rolling too quickly into the tier spread, our first subject of the night, in the center here, on my right, actually I guess on my left, can't even get my east from my west, but we've got our little logo here that I'm currently working on, so be on the lookout. In the next few weeks, that should be adjusted and changed over, and then we'll have that kind of figured out and go from there. But that wraps up the intro pretty well. I think it's time we actually get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. Let's start talking about our first subject. We're going to get into some of our new AMI teams. We've got 6 of them. We had apparently a large chunk of new applications this season that ended up in the lower tiers. I don't know if we just had a lot in the mid-ground and it just kind of pushed a whole bunch of people down, but we have 6 new teams in AMI. We've got the Praetorians from the Sovereign, the Shadows from the Monster Mash, Bunts of Steel from the Bakery, Alfredo Army from the Italian Battalion, Skater Skellies from the Ghoul School, and Sloth from 7 Deadly Sins. And Rob, God, there's some good logos in here and some good names.
Not only that, the best thing possible for this league is more people at the bottom, right? Because what that means is when they improve, they go up instead of from master to prem, and they just kind of get bored of the game, right? There's a whole league for them to go through. They can move up to contender, prospect, chally, rival, vet, elite, master. Like they have an entire road in front of them, and so if any of them are in here, probably not, but welcome to RSC. And I'm super excited to have you. Hope you stick around. And these logos, man, these names, cooler than a lot that are already out there, even for some of the same franchises.
Dude, I'm coaching this season for the bakery. Shout out Armo and Thunda there. Couple of studs, asked like, hey, can I coach this season? I'm getting kind of bored over here. Let me pop in. Oh yeah, boss, come take it out. Bunts of Steel, great top tier name. I promise you, like that is the best by far.
Well, you got some funny ones and you got some dope ones. Like if you're the seven deadly sins, and you are rebranding, I was Sloth the 7th. That one is so raw. I don't know. I get it's like being lazy, but I feel like I don't know, it sounds kind of badass. And so I don't know. Sloth is badass. Bunts of Steel is funny. Praetorians is just sick. Shadows is dope. Skater Skellies is like a combination of the two. Sick logo. I don't know, man. There's a lot of really cool ones going around.
Dude, first off, K-Flip, you're awfully quiet back there. Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm just letting you guys talk it out. As
Dude, jump on in. The
Yeah.
water's good. I promise.
Yeah, honestly, I like the idea that they put Sloth as the amateur team for the 7th Deadly Sin, just because, like, typically amateur is the slowest tier, just because it is the lowest level, so it kind of makes sense.
Fair enough.
I gotta say, I think Hoovian made that 7 Deadly Sins logo. Last time I talked to her, she ended up making like 6 of the rebrands, which is, I mean, shout out to her. She's been crushing graphics design these last few weeks. You gotta give a big shout out.
Yeah, and she just does a lot around the league.
Yeah, and I like the logo. I'm not gonna lie. I know they had to spell it out. They couldn't put the number 7 in the tier name, I think, for copyright, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's Sloths though. Don't we already have a Sloths team in Elite?
We have
You
a
do, yeah, for the jungle. So now there's Sloth and Sloths. So that's gonna lead to some fun. I guess the score reporting, the team name doesn't actually matter as much. There's a typo.
I mean, at least it's not going to be as confusing as the Monster Mash having a team called Shadows, and there's also a franchise called The Shadows.
Yeah,
Who
that's
also-
gonna be tough.
Especially since the Shadows also has an amateur team, so that's going to be good luck to those score reporting.
I'm kind of glad though. I mean, you were right, Rob. I do want to go back to what you were talking about with as we get more lower class, like lower tier people into the league. It is nice because those are going to be your long-term players, really. As they especially start getting coaching, they start learning good communications. They're getting out of solo queue. I know that's what Shamu's done for a long time, especially through Chally. I'm pretty sure he's put a lot of effort into Chally every year because he knows that that's going to be his lifeblood of his franchise going forward for his loyal players. But it'll be nice seeing more teams filling out AMI. I'm not going to lie, with 8 teams, it was kind of like, Like the team I coached last season won, and I was super excited. But like, they had a 50% chance of making the playoffs. This season, I don't know. Are they going to run 50%? Are they going to run 6 teams, or do you think they're going to keep it at 4?
Well, it would be what, 6 out of there would be 14, right? It wouldn't be 50% necessarily, right?
Well, no, there's 12 teams. 2 teams.
Were there?
2 teams shifted because one was.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not an influx of 6 new; it's an influx of 4 new and 2 rebrands.
We get 4 new teams, or 4 like new franchises, 2 AMI and 2 rebrands.
Okay, cool. So it will be 12. I could see them doing 6, where 1 and 2 each get a first round bye. Kind of exactly what Prospect did, I believe, but with 4 and 5 playing out on the outside. And then, but I could also see them doing even just the top 4. right? And you immediately go into the semis. But realistically, they're probably going to be a little bit more inclusive than that, especially in a lower tier to try to engage some competition. I would think that there probably are going to be 6 playoff teams moving forward.
Now, it's also worthy to note that usually when there's 12 teams, because it happens in Premier and Contender a lot, there does tend to be just conferences. So there's going to be I think all 12 teams are going to be split into 2 conferences. There won't be any divisions because that's obviously too small. But I think it's just going to be like 3 on Solar and 3 on Lunar that go through, and then like the first seed from each of those conferences has that bye.
I was gonna say I knew they had conferences last season, because there was Solar and Lunar. I'm pretty sure, right? Or no, there
I
wasn't.
think-
So, in amateur it was just 8 teams.
No,
there
they
were
were-
no
you're
conferences.
right.
It was
This will be
basically
their
just a
first
double.
season with conferences.
Yeah, it was basically just a double round robin last season.
We might see a lot less first round upsets though. I mean,
True.
because you're not going to see the first seeds anymore. Because I know last season in Emmy, Cathilla from the Mythos and Brass from Metal, both first rounded. They were the 1 and 2 seeds, and they got knocked out by 3 and 4. I believe it was the Rollers and Elastic. Elastic beat the Rollers in the finals. But I mean, all in all, yeah, I mean there's gonna be a little bit of a cushion for your 1 or 2 seeds now.
Absolutely, something to kind of fight for at those spots, right? If you are the 1 or 2 seed, there's literally no benefit last season to getting anything above the 3 or 4, right? Like it's the exact same matchup. So now, as you look into it, you actually have something to fight for in that regular season seeding. It's the same reason the NFL added that extra playoff team, is so there's more incentive to fight at that top spot to actually earn something through your regular season performance besides just a playoff berth.
Dope. Well, I mean, I don't really have a lot to, I don't think we got any other teams because I know the mid 4, they're all still 32. We're not going to probably ever expand past that.
I do
I don't
think
sorry, go ahead, K-Flip.
I do think it's cool. One thing that I like to add is that like there's 12 amateur teams, but there's also still 12 contender teams. So I think it's really cool that like if a franchise has a contender team, they also have an amateur team no matter what. I think it's just a cool touch.
Yeah. And I think that kind of lends itself to it's cool to be able to stick with a franchise for a while, right? And as long if that pipeline actually exists now from amateur to contender to prospect and then straight into the 32 team tiers, right? So I think we'll see more lower tier players sticking with the franchise for more than a season or two, and I think that's a really positive thing for the league.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But, I don't really think there's a whole lot more to pry back into the Emmy portion of this. So, if y'all are good with it, we'll go ahead and jump right into the spotlight. Start moving into kind of some big players that have been, that should have probably gotten promoted. Some people who did get promoted, and some people who got demoted. We'll talk about some big names here. So, I want to kick us off. I want to get us started off because a big one that I was paying attention to was Raichu. I explicitly thought with such a high SPV last season and coaching him to a chip, it was guaranteed. I was like, it's going to be a double promo. The season before there was 4. You had Chelsea Acacia, Avex Inception, Sinbree, and God, I'm trying to blank on the 4th. I swear to God, I'm trying to blank on the 4th. But still, you had 4 people double promo from Amy to Prospect, and then this last season we had one? Your girl's my side hoe. That was it. So,
What'd you say about my girl, boss? Sorry, go.
She's beside me. But no, I mean the fact that Raichu didn't get double promoted. I mean we've talked about it before. We're not a huge fan of the double promos in the league just because there's a big change in terms of skill level and speed. But I mean, tier max and contenders still surprised me. I really thought he was going to Prospect.
Piggybacking off that, boss. You said was it Sinbree, Chelsea Acacia, Zach the Bull, and
Avex Inceptions. He went off exclusively based on rank.
Okay. So something that's really interesting is those 3. As you were bringing that up, I realized I hadn't pulled up last season's SBV of the double promos, right? So looking at what those players did, there was an 88, an 82, and an 80 SBV that double promoed to Prospect. This season you have a 99 and a 90. So the 90 SPV was higher than any individual player that double promoted last season, and he's not double promoting.
Must have been a large amount of applications for
Yeah.
honestly, like in the mid tiers, which really
I would
pushed
be-
down the cap.
I would be interested to look at I should have pulled this up earlier, the season 16 tier spread of MMR, to see what number. I have that up as well. Give me just one moment.
Because they haven't announced the tiers. Oh, I guess they haven't.
They
released
have
to
now.
Peasants like me. Is it available for me?
Yeah, they have. It's public. I'm not in an elevated position anymore. So
Final tier.
So prospect tierman 2 seasons ago, or like last season, was 1055. This season it's 1040, so it's even lower. And he moved up to what wouldn't have even been a top 15 or 20 player and contender last season. So I find it interesting that he put up such dominating numbers, and maybe his rank is lower, right? Like there's always a chance of something like that. But without seeing everything right now, looking at the statistics and how he dominated more than other players who have double promoted in the past, it's interesting to see that he's not even a tier max contender player.
Yeah, for sure.
Is he not tier max?
He is not tier max, no.
No, he's kind of expensive. He's in the upper half, but he's not. He's like
1025 as tier max is 1040.
Yeah. And I respect Raichu so much because back in season 16 I was signed to Metal, and I was helping out because we almost had an amateur team that season for Metal, but it didn't end up working out. So, but I was helping with the private tryouts, and Raichu was at the top of my list instantly, and that was what, 2 seasons ago, and I knew he had the potential. I was watching him, I'm just like, this guy doesn't even belong in amateur. He belongs way higher. So like, I feel it's a little bit of slander that he's not double promo, considering he was also voted overall MVP over your girl's my side hoe.
That is sounds like Raichu's gonna have a pretty good season in contender from what we're saying.
Yeah, because
I did look up his. Oh, sorry. I just want to chime in real quick. I did pull up his rank real quick. He's Diamond 3 through 215 matches this season.
Huh.
So, what MMR is that?
He is 994, which might be the part
that is pretty
kept
low.
Him out of prospect.
No shade on that being low, but yeah, to ask to be put up to 1045 MMR. Do you have his 3's peak by any chance on his tracker?
I should be able to pull it up pretty quickly.
Because that's also, if that is above 1050, I think there's an argument for that still going higher. But if he's playing at his peak,
1003.
Okay, then maybe we're actually just talking about a contender player who had a particular skill set that ran amateur in a way that other people couldn't. And maybe as the consistency of opponents goes up, we'll see that production dip down more than we expect to. So maybe it'll be interesting to look to see how he does. Definitely a player to watch moving forward.
Where do you think he finished? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, K-Flip. Sorry.
So yeah, I looked up his stats from last season. He pulled 90 SPV, 91 IDR with a total RPV of 90.5. He had 66 goals, 36 assists, 71 saves, and a 42% shooting percentage. And I know, because I have seen that Frosty Brew has picked him up. He is on the Wisps for the Monster Mash contender team. So that's going to be an interesting roster to look out for.
I kind of expected it, though, because Monster Mash picked up a new AGM this offseason. And, you know, for those of you who don't know, it's Misty. And Misty was AGM for Energy, where Raichu was playing last season. So could be Misty realizing that, hey, like, this is a good player. Obviously, she knew. So she probably reached out to him before I could get my grimy little hands on him.
Makes sense. He definitely is someone to look out for. That said, those numbers aren't, like, that different. You have 4 different players put up within 7 goals of him. He was 6th in assists and I mean, you had a bunch of people around him in saves. So like those numbers are good, but they aren't saying that he. I think the more interesting thing is that Your Girl Is My Side Hoe got double promoted and nobody else did. I think that if you're gonna promo side hoe, you have to look at promoting the people who performed similarly. Unless, I mean, maybe I don't know. The formula might focus more on that ranked aspect. And if you're only putting, if you have a peak MMR of 1,003, you don't deserve to be in the tier that's 1060 to 1160, right?
I
So
don't
I
think
think
I've heard-
that's.
I don't
Go
think
ahead,
I've ever
boss.
heard somebody in RSC be like, "Oh yeah, please double promo me, please."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want this right now. Like, send me. Like, no, most people are gonna be like, "One's enough. One's enough."
Oh, also, on the topic of double promos, we talked a while ago on Not Kaido. He was actually a manual double promo after discussing with
Oh.
him. So he promoted to vet, and then was his GM put him to elite.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
interesting, but just on the topic of double promos.
Speaking of double promos, I'll just go another one on my list here since we're just kind of hanging out. I'm going to throw out a certain someone that we talked about multiple times last season for having an incredible season in Challenger. For a while was looking to be a first round rival pick player, and very recently got shoved right into vet at the bottom. Now a 5th round vet. We're looking at the Wheelman 95. Last season absolutely killed it. I believe for a while he was sitting at like 104 SBV. I'm pretty sure that tapered off. I'm gonna double check real quick, but
I just
the
took
fact
his stat.
you did check his stats.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He became the most dominant person in China last season. He had 99.6 SPV and 111.8 IDR.
Yeah,
That's wild.
and I mean it.
Those are some large numbers.
We talked about him multiple times. He was killing it last season. Like he was slaughtering the tier, and I kind of thought it was going to happen. I know that double promos have kind of not really gone burr this offseason, but no, I mean it's kind of rough that very last second he gets double promo. He's now like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a first round rival, and oh by the way, now you're a 5th round vet. Like good luck.
Yeah, double promos. I typically am on the side of not double promoing players, especially the higher you go, right? Like from AMI to prospect is from what the top 40% of players to top 30. Like it's a jump you can make by playing the game seriously for a couple months. But when you start talking about going from a tier that's usually champ 2, now the bottom of a tier is grand champ. Like, what if you just? I don't know this player. I don't know how well that they do. I'm not even saying that he can't compete, right? My vet team this season was carried by a guy who 2 seasons prior went from Chally to vet in Fluffy. He had the similar stats and then had an average vet season of like 50 SBV. So we've seen that people can do it, and I'm not. And it'll be fascinating to see. It's always really interesting to track that jump, right? Like where exactly will this player end up when their numbers, their cost has inflated so much. So we'll see if he even gets to play. It might be a developmental season for him.
True. K-Flip. Is he getting in season 19? Is he going to be promoed? Same tier, or is he going back to rival?
Honestly, hold on. Honestly, at this point, if he's up there, he's not even tier man. He's just above tier man, and I can see it. If he's performing as well as he is, especially in Chally, like honestly, if he keeps the momentum up, I feel like sometimes for some players, the higher you should go. If you have better teammates, you just basically just like just like leapfrog like with them, and you just like play better because you're against better opponents and with better teammates. So I think it could work.
Well, then, I love that you have some confidence in him, but do you think he's getting promo? Do you think he's staying in the same tier, or do you think he's going back down to rival?
Okay. Because he's cheap, I think he's going to stay in the same tier. I don't think he's going down.
Okay.
I would like to chime in. I have his tracker up right now. For what it's worth, he does have a pretty high 2s rank. for a Chally player at 1438 is his peak.
GC1 Div 1?
Yeah, which is fairly high for a Chally player in twos, but I know that when you start getting to rival, you have a lot of 1500 twos peaks. And so Chally, I understand where that dominance comes from. His threes peak is 1330. Which is 100 MMR. His threes peak is 100 MMR less than where he's placed in RSC, which is going to be really tough. He's never played in threes lobbies like this. If you looking at his tracker, he usually for the last probably 8 of the last 12 months has actually been champ 1 in threes. Don't know how much he played, but that's where his rank was sitting. And so if you start talking about an entire rank set above what you're used to, from champ 1 to grand champ 1, like, man, stuff gets hard, dude. And so no shade, but I think it's difficult to see a path to where this player has a lot of success in veteran this season. And I would love to be proved wrong, but I think it's going to be tough.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it is going to take some adjusting. It is going to take some adjusting to, but we'll see. It all depends on how fast he does that adjustment. Because if he adjusts quickly, then he's probably going to he's probably on the playoff team.
Maybe as a fourth, yeah, but like even in twos until June, like the second week of June, his peak wasn't even champ 3. And so he also just hit champ 3 for the first time in 3. So this is what we're looking at, is some closer to a champ 3 level player who dumpstered some champ 1 to champ 2s in Chally. And so he clearly had a very, very dominant performance. And as such, the numbers committee kind of looks at that, and they do weigh per league performance more than rank or anything like that. So I do understand, but man, 100 MMR above your peak is crazy to get placed.
Rob, I know you're an opinionated fella. You've got to have a list. You've got to have a list over there. What do you got?
I do have a list. So I'm actually going to segue this one into a guy that I know K-Flip wanted to talk about. The only other double promo that I'm aware of, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only one that I think is there that we haven't talked about yet is one player from the Hammerheads, the team that set all those records, captain, most statistically dominant, and it's Red Steel 43 BR. Went rival to elite. So it's going to be fascinating. Absolutely dominated rival, right? But then the question is always to be had, if you're in a perfect ecosystem, are you the reason that the ecosystem is perfect, or are you a benefit of it? And it'll be really interesting to see how this player performs in elite, man. That's a big, big jump. And we saw a few players make it, including yourself, boss, and do pretty well, right? You had a 48 SPV or something. Kaido had a 52. Justice had a 55. So we've the last.
It's okay.
Yeah, go crazy. But going from rival to elite, I think this player will be fine. To be honest, I think this is one of those double promos that I actually do agree with. Yeah, but man, it is a tough ask.
You're right. It's an incredible jump because the speed of play in rival and elite are vastly different, and I can say that from personal experience. It's kind of a wake up call. But for the most part, I mean, I watched Red Steel play multiple times last season, and
he's good, man. He's good. He'll be fine.
Nuts. I think he's going to do far better than I did moving between the two tiers.
Well, far better than you going 19-4 in your first few games, boss, will be.
I had a great team.
It'll be interesting.
I had a great team.
So, K-Flip, you were talking about Red Steel a little bit beforehand. You got anything to note in particular on the guy?
I wanted to mention that, like, yeah, sure, Red Steel is good, but he's gonna be on an even greater team, because last season, along with the Hammerheads, the Great Whites, maybe they weren't as dominant, but they were
close.
Dominant.
They were real close, man. I lost to them in playoffs.
Yeah, because they were, I believe, in the first 2 weeks they were 15-1, while the Hammerheads were 16-0. And two of those players, Atlas, XP, and ACP, they're still on that roster. So I think if Red Steel is able to connect with them,
You lose your top two, though.
I'm gonna be honest. That like having played against them last season, that yeah, 90% of their offensive production kind of came from their top two.
Clef and Argnor are both. I talk a lot of smack to Clef all of the time, but I have so much
course
respect for
you
them
do.
as a team. Like, Clef and Argnor were. You could have made an argument. I don't think I would have necessarily agreed, but I wouldn't have called you silly if you had said that they were the two best players in the tier last season, and they played like it until playoffs, right? And maybe they even did, and Azathoth just peaked on them and dumpstered. But
Well, I
the
was
point
gonna
to be
say,
made-
Azathoth went full on like
yeah, they went demon
buzzsaw
mode and won the whole
they
thing.
just-
Yeah. But point is, those two players are both now. I mean, I think Argnor retired, but Clef isn't even tier min master. Like they are very, very good. And so, while yes, Atlas and ACP are both also good in their own right, it's another one of those questions. It's going to be tough to see just what level they perform at without having that really, really positive ecosystem around them.
It's gonna be likely a rebuild season. I'm pretty sure. Just kind of getting their bearings.
Red Steel this must be, there's got to be another account, right? Red Steel's threes peak is 1260.
What?
On both accounts listed on RSC with 5k wins. Threes peak is 1260, twos peak is 1390.
That would explain
That's
why he
what it
got
is.
placed in, or why he was in.
It
Rival.
would. So it'll be really interesting. Maybe, I don't know. He looks really good, right? But it's going to be fascinating, right? He's going to be playing in a tier that's 300 MMR above his peak.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that might be, in my opinion, the most interesting watch coming up. Seeing that, both knowing the player and what they're getting into. Did not expect their ranks. Granted, they don't really play ranked much, like ever at all, and they got up to GC in tournaments.
Yeah, but I know a guy in Chally right now who's GC in tournament.
Yeah.
Shout out to Majestic Eagle.
But this player has played. It's not a lot, right? But it's 76 threes games, and they're Champ 2, Div 2. And that is not what I would expect out of a player that we're talking about having success in Elite.
Yeah, that definitely explains why they were in Rival last season.
Yeah. Huh. It'll be really fascinating to look forward to how Red Steel performs with that double promo.
So we've
Wow.
been talking about double promos a lot, but I want to segue back to single promos because I'm surprised that Spooky RL, yeah, sure, he did go up to Chally. He did really well. He got the pepperoni pizza, the number 4 seed in the playoffs. They got the playoff run, and they won the ship. But so Spooky got a 96.5 RPV. So why is it that if 1165 is the tier min in Chally, why is he only 1170? I think
Because
that's...
he played 12 games.
Wait, what?
He had that 96.5 RPV in 12 matches.
Oh, he just came in late. I see.
He just came in
Yeah.
for a few games, played really, really well, and then he had a good playoffs, from what I understand.
That
Which
was-
is deserving of a promo. Most players who play 12 games they would never be glanced at to promo.
Oh,
but
no,
he
I was
did
gonna
earn
say,
that.
Season 15 to season 16, I dropped. It was only a 78, but it was like I played 20 matches, and yeah, that didn't even affect it. Like I just stayed in Rival from season 15 to season 16. If you don't play a full season or at least most of a season, they kind of look at it as a small sample size, and they don't really have it hurt you too much.
But I've also heard that Spooky's pretty good, so I am interested to see how they do in Chally.
Yeah, he's way too cheap. If Array keeps him, she's gonna be happy.
But going back into those single promos, there's actually not even a single promos. The people who didn't promo that I think should have. You have one player who I'm very familiar with, knocked me out of playoffs like 6 seasons ago. I've been losing to them for a while. Forza or Relax, remaining in Elite. This one I find fascinating. In another league that we play in, it's regional, it's Midwest, so MNCS, Minnesota Championship Series, their cost is $17.35. which would be mid to top of Master. This player, since Season 12, dropped an 88 SPV in Major, which was Vet, and a 70 in Elite in Season 13, a 55 SPV in 32 games in Master. So an above average SPV in Master in Season 14, then only played 8 matches in Season 15, again in Master, got demoted to Elite, dropped a 73 SPV in 64 matches, and then this last season had a whopping 80.3 SPV in 50 games and still remains elite. This player has proven that they have an above average ability, the ability 3 seasons ago to play above average in Master. They have consistently dominated elite and been an all-star candidate in back-to-back seasons, and I don't know how their cost did not get adjusted after an 80 SPV season. I do understand that some players have to naturally be at the top of a tier, right? Some players are going to be the best players in a tier. However, I think that this player exceeds what that bar is in my head.
I think you're right. I mean, 80 SPV, that is
Last season,
nuts.
yeah. And lost in finals. So clearly a dominant playoff performer as well.
Right, and if you want to make the case of like, oh well, there are 70s from before, you know, or there are 55 in Masters from 4 seasons ago. It's like, sure you can make that case, but 80 last season is wild, and I don't.
Including playing on multiple teams, so like
Right.
being the ecosystem himself, as opposed to like being, as we were talking about Great Whites, right, where everyone was always going nuts. This dude switched teams and still put up those dominating stats.
Right, and that's where I don't see this being a great decision. I mean,
And he's not even tier max.
he's not
like,
even tier max.
Nah,
Oh,
he's
come on
10
now.
below. He's 10 below. So, but to be fair, while we're also talking about all these number things, I only have like 5 people I even think were remotely misplaced. And Forza is the only one who I think was off by like any notable margin. So I would like to give them a shout out. I shit talk numbers a lot, but I think you guys did an exceptional job with like 99% of like 1,000 people tier, which is unfathomably positive, 99+% success rate. So great job numbers. I'm gonna go back to talking about what you got wrong.
What team did he sign with?
Vibranium. Oh, this season, Bear Den with Scrooms, who's also gonna run elite with him.
Okay.
They're buddies.
Bearden getting the team spill, it seems like.
No. Well, I'm gonna piggyback off that actually. I know I've been talking a lot, but I got one more that I want to mention. I'll give you the floor after this to talk about anything that you got. But this is a player that I actually rostered on Prospect last season. His name is That Bugs Bunny. He was an all-star ballot, took us to the 3 seed. He had a great ecosystem around him. We're going to be talking about that a lot today. But he had our highest SPV, highest RPV, 71 overall RPV, would have been good for 4th in Solar. And his cost also, like Forza, remained the same at Tier Max Prospect.
Okay.
That's an interesting one, considering he actually was shy before.
Yeah, even if it was like 8 games, but he was a Chally player. Let me pull this up. I have it on my handy dandy lookup sheet. Bugs, to be fair, it was a bad Chally season, but season 16 he dropped a 19.4 SPV in only 5 games, so he didn't even really play. Went down to Prospect last season where I signed him, and he put up that 71 RPV, and now it's remaining there. So maybe they want to see a little bit more of him. It was in 41 games though, which is a lot, especially in a non-32 team tier. So he's gonna have a lot of success again.
Fair. You know what player I know is going to have a lot of success this season, though?
Which one?
Mr. Raccoon, who, you know, at the beginning of the season started off with a 90 at one point SPV. I think he fell to a 66, which is still a really solid season to follow up your MVP campaign in season 16 for Rival. Great season. But it's weird for me to not see him promoted, because I really thought, you know, maybe his team didn't win. His team didn't win the chip, right?
Nope, mine did.
That's right. That's right.
They did.
That's
They
right.
did go to
Alright.
finals though.
They did go to finals though, and they played really well.
They
And he
played
was the
really
backbone
solid.
of their defense.
It was flabbergasting for me because I thought with how important he was to his team, how well he played, and how well they performed throughout the season, that realistically, it was going to be a promo. I thought we were going to see that in green, the green side with, hey, by the way, Rec, welcome to Elite, come join me. But no, I'm still shook by that.
This is one where, Boz, we're actually going to disagree. So this is exciting. I do not think that Rec is an Elite Threes player. I think that as we talk about perfect ecosystems, he was on a team with our MVP pick for most of the season in AOS Arctic. Raccoon's threes peak is from last October, and it is 1431. So he has not hit Grand Champ in threes. So you're asking for him to go into a tier that is 1510 up to what, like 1650?
What's my peak though? Honest question.
And you didn't feel like you were what is your peak? You didn't feel like you were an elite player
It
either.
was like 1451.
And that's what the difference between, and that 30 MMR is the difference between you being placed in vet and being placed in elite.
Was he tier max in vet?
He is, yes.
Okay.
My understanding, I don't feel comfortable with a player who, kind of going back to the double promo concept, right? He was an elite or rival 2 seasons ago, and he won MVP, but there's an argument to be made that that was also kind of a product of a system, right? The best team in rival, and he was on it. And yes, he gets credit for that, but he had a 65 SBV in rival. Right, like it's not that great of a rival season, boss. You had a 90 something. The 3 double promos we were talking about all had 90 to 100 something. In vet, he had a 64 SPV.
Playoffs, though, my man.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Is that this dude is clearly a winner and clearly is at whatever level he competes at, but is putting up a 64 SPV as the second best player on your team, like, is that promo worthy? Like, that's pretty good. That's really good. But now we're talking about, in my opinion, the difference between being a player that deserves to be at the top of a tier and someone who should get promoted. Forza versus Raccoon situation, right? Forza
we're
has
not disagreeing on Forza.
Well, I know,
we both know he needs to be promoted.
But I think the interesting is like it's where that line gets drawn, because like Raccoon situation is here, and then like Forza's is here, where you have an 80 SBV the season prior. You've put up a 55 plus in the tier above. You are clearly perform and have a history of performing at or above that tier's level. Raccoon, like he won MVP in rival, but it was a 64 SBV. Like that's fine, that's good. I just had more than that in elite, and I'm like begging to be promoted to master.
Didn't you get promoted to master?
I did get promoted, but I literally asked to. I think was gonna anyway, but like maybe not with how Forza was placed. And you look at Raccoon with that 64 in vet, like it's good, but it doesn't tell me that he should be competing at a level above. I want to see one more season where he is not just the product of a system. I need to see him be the system.
So what SBV, or I guess, well, we'll use SBV because that's probably the easiest to like really track and guesstimate.
I think usually a 70 plus is a promo.
70 plus? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair point. K-Flip.
And Grant, I think he had a 71 RPV. So it's very, very close and very, very arguable. I just fall on the side of T-Max bet. But yeah.
Fair enough. Mr. K-Flip, what are your thoughts, my man? Okay, you are alive. That's good. That's a good start.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, I am alive. Yeah. I think you guys basically closed that argument. I don't know. I've been trying to say stuff about like some of the vet and elite players, but unfortunately, I've never been up there, and I probably never will because I'm bad at the game. So I'm just listening to you guys have fun. Honestly, it just depends on how they do during the season, because there could be some seasons where you play god awful, and then the next season you just play on fire and you become overall MVP. So it's just like it's kind of RNG on like how you're feeling that season. It all depends on like obviously teammates and like new opponents come as a factor as well, but it all comes down to how you play individually.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Now, hold on, I have one more. If we're done with this conversation, I have one more. Nope, I have one more player that wasn't promo that I want to shout out.
Who we talking?
Okay, so all the way down in Chally, we have a guy who has won Chally twice. He's currently a 3-time, but he's never been really a star player. He's still in Challenger. Bloodraven. He has won Challenger twice, both on the same team name. He was on Breadsticks twice, and he was in both times. He was on completely different rosters that season. So it's nice to see. Like he definitely is a good player, but he never is like the shining star. Because in my opinion, the first time he won for the first Breadsticks when he was on, it was probably Blueprints, and then the second one it was probably Wheelman. So knowing this season he's very near tier min. I believe tier min's 1290. He is
Max.
1280.
Max is the word you're looking for.
Did I say min?
Yeah.
I was gonna
Important
say,
difference.
how
Important
the heck
difference.
do you put a championship
Yeah.
into your mid?
No. He's tier max, and he put up like SBB and IDR both like all in the 60s, and he's a really good player. It honestly feels like weird. This is a weird comparison, but the Turbo Pulse of the team, not because he's like it's because he's not really the shining
Hold
star.
on,
He's just
hold on.
he's just the backseat driver, and he's just there to.
Did you really just call Turbo Pulsa a backseat driver? Are you really gonna say that man?
Well,
Turbo
okay,
Pulse is a Chally player.
that was bad word choice.
Apparently, man just compared Bloodraven to Lord Himothy himself and said, you know what? They both got carried.
If you're comparing anybody, it might as well be Moose, to be honest. The 4-time.
I mean, that's true.
Ooh.
But
That's not a dig. He just won 4 titles.
Moose does tend to be like a star player,
I
but
thought you were
like
saying
like most of the
Bloodraven
time
to
though.
Moose,
Turbo
not
like
Moose to Turbo.
like Turbo back in the day, like he's not mechanical, he's not flashy. He's just that guy that you just need as like the completion of the team, the backbone of the team. I feel if Bloodraven's able to win 2 challenger wins with completely different rosters, I feel like he is that backbone. So whoever roster he sticks with for Breadsticks again, maybe he could be the next 4-time if he has a good enough roster to team with.
I'm sending
That'll
this
be
to
interesting.
Turbo after this conference. As soon as we're done with this, I'm sending it straight to Turbo so I can get denied. But on the very off chance that he responds, he'll see that you told him he was carried in 4 ships.
I do actually think that there is a comparison to be made between Moose and Bloodraven, because Moose has always performed very, very well, but he wasn't the guy who was like, holy shit, we're playing this guy today, right? Like there was Skullsy, there was Greg, there was Chips. Like there's always been some guy where Moose kind of just fills the gaps in a really, really positive way. And he's watching. Shout out Moose. But and so it kind of sounds like you're saying we have this A1 support player. We have this player who is a winning piece. They are a part of a winning roster. But normally you look for a tier max creator, right? An offensive superstar for them to fill in behind. And it's going to be interesting to watch this guy, this glue guy, the one who does the dirty work, stays third man when he has to, right? Like gets the passes. Is now that tier max player. It'll be really, really interesting to watch that team building process, see if they can have that success.
Well, and you know that if you're building with a great foundation like that, and you know that good, it's great when you have a flashy looking house, but if the foundation's garbage, like if you don't have a really solid player who's going to be your maestro of the field, the man who's reading, making great rotations, making the passes they need to make, then yeah, it's going to be terrible. But that also, you're right. That's going to be a great building block for next season for them. I mean, if they're bringing back a championship pedigree and they're saying, hey, this man's clearly good enough to win with 2 different people in similar fashions, like you're going to be the next one up. Get your chip.
So I actually have someone kind of similar in Rival. I rostered him last season. His name's Blizzy. He ended up on the All-Star ballot. 74 RPV. Put up great numbers. I ended up IRing him towards the end of the season, but he did play enough games to qualify for All-Star, so he was on that ballot of top 6 at the end of the season. And typically, if you have a player who was All-Star ballot the season prior and they stay in that tier, i.e., your Forzas, your Bugses, a lot of the players that we're talking about are kind of fall into that category, that criteria. He's going to be a phenomenal building piece for somebody, man. I was looking to have him be my vet 4th man, actually, before all the shenanigans went down. But he is going to be some part of some very winning Rival roster, and I'm very looking forward to seeing what he does.
Well, we're kind of rolling through in time here, guys. You feeling? You feel like we covered enough people, or do you have like maybe one more? Or is life ready for the RSC trivia?
I think I'm good.
I got one last one. Just because we haven't talked about players who dropped yet, I got one player in my mind who dropped that I am kind of surprised that they did, especially because it's pretty hard to demote in RSC. His name's Galactic. Went from Elite to Vet. He did have a 40 RPV in Elite though, and over a 60 RPV on average for the past 4 seasons in Vet. So
demoted?
He did get demoted, I think, unless I'm looking at a completely different list.
But put me back on Rival.
Yeah, right.
Galactic event, send me back down.
Yeah, but so it'll be fascinating. It'll be really. I think Galactic's gonna have a lot of fun in Vet, man. He had like a 74 IDR last time he was here. Put up some crazy numbers. That's why he got promoted. So excited to watch him. We can go into the trivia now.
Fair enough. All right, people. That brings us into our RSC trivia break. Let's talk. Rob, what you got for us this week?
So, in light of some fun things, I figured, and just a new season, I figured that we'd do some GM trivia. So, can you name them all? Who are the new GMs this season, and how many are there?
Ooh.
There's 10, right?
9, I believe.
9.
Okay. So we got.
You guys can work together on this one as well.
I
know.
Probably shouldn't, because I had to reach out to every single new GM for the new GM introductions that I had to make graphics for.
Okay, so you probably know them all. Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, we got Bosco, we got Dylon, what else we got? We got Brady, I remember, who's on the Shark Attack now.
Mm-hmm.
We have Irish, we have Dead Moose.
That's 5.
This is gonna mess with me. Crap.
Did you say Bosco already?
I did say Bosco.
Okay.
Did you mention the cold coffee one?
Mr. Frosty Brew came.
Oh, Frosty. Oh my.
Wow.
Frosty Brew.
All right. What if I give you the franchise? Let's go to Electric Mayhem.
Yeah.
Did you announce Electric
Earth.
Mayhem yet?
Earth.
7.
All right. You already got whale defense with the
I think you're missing the puppy.
Oh, Evil
one,
Twins. Yeah, I just thought of Evil Twin.
and you have one left.
from the Quad Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course. Wheelchair back in his original throne.
Yep, literal throne.
Literally back in his old franchise.
Yeah. But yeah, good job. So I just wanted to say shout out to all 9 of our new GMs. I wish nothing but the best for all of you, and I'm really excited to see what happens, who wins. Hopefully I'll be competing with and against you guys, and until then I'm excited to watch, man. So shout out all the new faces. Let's everyone do a little clap for them. It's a lot of work that they're taking on, man. And so
it's Hell Week too, isn't it?
it is indeed.
wrapping up
So I
Hell
figured
Week,
it's
yeah.
a good time to give them all a little shout out. They do a lot for this league. Lastly, I got one more, still GM based for you. This is a fun one. Who are the top 3 new GMs in order of trophies won?
Moose.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, Boost is one.
Yep,
Moose
Moose is
number
one.
Real easy start.
Bonus, how many trophies does he have?
4.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Um,
looking like Tom Brady soon enough.
Yeah.
Number
Now this is
2.
where it'll be interesting.
I know Frosty Brew has 1.
Does he?
I think so. I could be wrong. I might be thinking
Unless
Rex, though.
my information is wrong and he doesn't have a trophy icon next to his name in the server, but he should.
I might still be thinking Rex then.
Rex didn't have a. Rex never had a chip.
Doesn't matter. Move forward.
Does Bosco have a chip?
Bosco does not. This is a
No.
tough
Oh.
one, right?
This is
And
a
there
really
are
tough
no
one.
there are no ties in second and third.
Okay.
Hmm.
I know Brady hasn't won one
Earth.
yet. Oh
Earth's
yeah,
got
duh.
3 of
Earth.
them. I'm
Earth
fucking-
has
Earth
3.
does have 3
I'm
of them.
so dumb.
Earth is second with 3 trophies. Moose is first with 4. And now who is our third? Which GM is third in trophies won? Which new GM? They do have a trophy,
A trophy. Okay.
They have 1 trophy.
at least.
I should know this.
I was more saying that it is more than 0, so you didn't think that like
Okay.
it was going to be a
Yeah,
trick
I got
question.
you. You said new GM, so it's not tech.
Yeah. While you think about this, shout out just so everybody knows, I won a JUCO national title in Rocket League, and my ring just got here. Beautiful.
That's actually pretty sick.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It has my name on the side with the
Here, move it a little bit to
NJCAA.
your right. Move a little bit to your right. There you go.
Wait.
No, you're
No,
right.
other
not
way,
that
other way. Okay, my bad.
Yep. You went too far. You went too
Ooh.
far. There you go.
Too far?
Yep.
This is just not working that well, but it's beautiful. Wow, great focus camera. But Rocket League, NJC, Madison College. Shout out the JUCO national titles. Oh my God, it's Zippy, my favorite former player. Anyway, who is third in trophies won? It's not me, even though I have a championship ring.
It's not Irish. I
Um,
don't think he's won yet.
Oh,
it's
I
not
know what it
Frosty.
is. I figured it out. It's wheelchair.
It is indeed wheelchair with 1.
Okay.
That's the end of our Rob's RSC
Oh, okay.
trivia.
My bad.
Moose
My
with
bad.
4, Earth with 3, and wheelchair with 1.
Fair enough. Well, that rocks us into kind of the ending segment here. We don't have to go through all of them if we don't want to. I know we're trying to keep the stream a little shorter tonight, not trying to go the full 2-hour runtime like usual. I just want to give a big shout out. I'm working with some people to update the RC stream. It probably won't be this season just because we don't have a lot of time for it, but I am partnering with some people from RC EU and Musa and a few other people to get it updated to it'll look a little bit more like RCEU, a little bit more like RLCS, and then hopefully include the hype chamber going into season 19.
Hell yeah.
So we'll see kind of what it looks like, but we're just taking baby steps. That way we don't make anything go wrong with the API.
Does media committee count as an elevated role?
What do you mean?
Does anyone in chat know if media? I don't know. We just sent a message.
What do you mean elevated?
Anyway,
role?
continue. Sorry, forget I said anything.
Explain what an elevated
Doesn't
role
matter.
is.
It really doesn't
Just
matter.
go
It
ahead.
really doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's about it. We'll see some revamping going on for the social media side of things. I know we've tasked our lovely guest K11 here with partnering with Party Shark, or not Party Shark. Sorry, we're getting you that new sheet once season 18 schedule's coming out because you're on Twitter, not TikTok. I'm on fire.
Welcome back to another scuffed pre-jump podcast.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love that I had to say it twice too because I didn't include my audio in the first one. It's a great start. But the next one that actually was pretty big, revamping of captains' roles. I remember somebody popped it in here. Let me pull up serious suggestions because I originally had it written down and I can't find it anywhere now. Also, I just saw somebody put in mixed tiers all-star event.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'd be super down.
Are we already doing that with a tier takedown? Having two different... Well, I guess no, because it's not all-stars. That's... Never mind. Revamping of captain's roles. Tulane... Of course it's Tulane. Tulane's just a stud.
Julian's a beast, man.
He is everywhere, dude. I swear to God. I believe the role of captain in RSC is underutilized in that by... I'm going to have to get after him because he actually wrote underutilized, and that by defining and utilizing this role, the league could partially eliminate a few recurrent issues, some of which have been brought up here as their own suggestions, namely matchmaking procedures, forfeit protocols, and all-star MVP voting. And I get it. I mean, the captain's role as it is seems extremely vague, and it's very different depending on what franchise you're working with. I mean, I know some tiers or some teams, it's 100%, hey, you're the captain, you set everything up from scrims all the way to, matches to or get everything like squared away. But some franchises, AGM, seem to be a lot more invested or a lot more in control.
Yeah, in the Cosmos, I would literally I would be the captain of my own team, and I'd add my AGM on my team, and I'd be like, hey man, you go you find the scrims and I'll be the in-game guy. And sometimes it'll be the other way around, where you dedicate in kind of an in-game leader, the guy who sets lineups, and then that guy doesn't know how to do screenshots because he's on Xbox and he can't auto-upload to ball chasing, so someone else has that role, right? And so I actually am kind of on board with this. Defining what a captain is in RSC, even if we're not giving them more responsibility, I think it would be good if there was kind of a widespread understanding of what that meant. I also am on board with the captain, a team vote for MVP or All-Star, because I think that, if there's some way to make sure that the captain has to vote, if everyone puts in a sheet or something, I don't know, but I think that would take away a lot of the popularity contest of voting, specifically for All-Stars. Oh, that's my buddy on the list. I saw him. It'll take that away to where...
It'll be more like having coaches voting for...
Yeah.
I
think it's a positive thing. I don't know if that's the way to do it, per se, but I do think it's a really good idea and a positive idea that's moving us in the right direction.
I definitely agree that the captain role is typically underused. Every time I'm captain, it always does. It never really feels that much like a role. It mostly just feels like, okay, I guess I'm in charge of this team, which means I decide which roster goes in, and I also score report, and I also take care of either getting replays or having someone take care of replays, and that's it. It's really feels like it's only those couple things. I do really think that there needs to be more added. So I like the idea of expanding what it means to be a captain.
Well, and I definitely think Tulane. So Rob, you covered section A and C, where he's talking about new responsibilities, but B talks about lessening the amount of chasing that stats committee does, where he says that while GMs would still remain ultimately responsible for replay reporting, captains
they would have a
also
captain to reach out to.
strike. Well,
yeah,
captains would also receive a strike if they didn't submit replays.
I think it's what happens if you have 4 people on Xbox, right, on a team.
Cut 'em.
It gets really
Cut 'em
I mean, yeah, but it gets difficult. A strike might be a bit much, but a warning that could go into a strike, where because I do really think that teams should be responsible for their own replays. I can't tell you how many times that I just had to go to ball chasing and get their replay and upload it for them because they just didn't know how, right? And so maybe there would need to be more captain onboarding, and maybe the GMs themselves could talk about it. But I do think that lessening the burden of replays on both the committee and the GMs is a good thing, and having the actual captains have the responsibility for it is also a good thing.
I actually agree with that, because there was one season where we were close to that 4X. We actually had we had one season where there were, including me, there were 3 Xbox players, and I had the one PC player who was dealing with every single replay. So yeah, it's a little bit pressuring, I guess, for that one person, because if they can't make it, we're kind of screwed.
Like, yeah, what is the process of an Xbox player uploading replays?
We can't. That's the issue.
Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking of the auto uploading thing, but like, if you actually can't, then like, how are you gonna punish a team for like?
You technically can. It's just really it takes a long time.
It's tedious, probably. I haven't tried it. There's probably a way, but I'm just not gonna go through it because like you can save replays, but on Xbox it seems like they only
You have to put them
intend
on
to
a
like
flash drive or something, like, and then
something like
transfer
that.
it to your PC.
Probably something like that. Yeah.
Like that,
That's probably about it.
I don't think that's realistic to expect of a team.
I guess like the only outcome if there were 4 Xbox players or well, four console players in general, I guess the one thing you could do is get some random person, maybe someone you know who's like not like playing or something at the time, who's like free to do it all, and they are on PC, and then they obviously ask permission for the other team if they can hop in and take the replays,
Yeah.
but
I wonder if screenshots are enough.
I don't think so because you need ball chasing for all the extra stats like demos,
True. Yeah,
possession.
yeah.
Because I think IDR like takes that into account.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. You know, it seems like it's going to be a problem that's going to be running the length of time. I don't really see a solution for it, but one thing I do see a solution for, Rob, is this contest they're looking to hold for a new Marbles map building contest.
That sounds fun. I lose marbles every time. I actually had good marbles, but never mind.
Yo, can we talk about Croc?
What about him?
What tier was it where he like bounced in such a way that he skipped the entire start and was like finished before Fiend even realized what was going on?
I did not see anything about that.
Dude, yeah, if you go back to RC Solar, you look, I think it was like a leader vet. He turns around and he's like, wait a minute, Croc's finished? When did that happen? I looked away and it's like he literally just bounced perfectly.
That's crazy.
I just wanted to shout that out.
Also, for what it's worth, circling back, but I was closing some tabs. Red Steel is an elite with a 12, like 83 peak, and Raccoon is in vet with a 1390. So, just interesting tidbits of information.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
Marbles was actually submitted by Mr. Tech 5. God, I hate he did that. I'm suggesting we run a contest to see who can make the best marbles on Steam map. The ultimate goal would be to replace the current map if we get one good enough. If we do not, that's fine. And I know when we were talking about it before in DC, he was like, you know, I don't hate the current marbles map, but I think I'm ready for something new. Because I think we've had the same marbles map for 6 seasons now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I'm 100% in it. I like a little bit of change here and there. I mean, we're revamping a lot of stuff in RC in the upcoming seasons, so I think hosting an actual contest to be like, hey, whoever makes the best marbles map, you got it. You're going to be the face of the RC draft stream. Like, send it.
Cool. I'm definitely down with a new one.
Mr. K-Flip.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I definitely.
Comments, concerns?
Like I said, like sure, we've had. I mean, yeah, we've had the same map, and yeah, it is a really dynamic. It's a cool map, but having the same one over and over again does get a little stale. So I do like that how we could like freshen things up a bit. And I don't know, how are we gonna determine who is the best though? Would it just be like a community vote, or would it just be like a committee vote, or something like that?
It'll have to be some kind of vote by committee. It'll likely be admins will definitely have their hands in it in some way, shape, or form. I'm guessing Tech 4, since he recommended the contest, will probably have some sort of input. I really hope so. I would hope Fiend would also get some as well. Fiend's going to be the one that's also casting it. He casts the Marble stream every season. So as long as I feel like those people are getting their voices heard, I think that's what we're going to end up seeing.
It could be a full staff vote as well.
Could be. I know we've lost a decent amount of staff members. Speaking of which, instead of 3-man rosters, do we want to talk about what happened today? Like, that's public. Is that public info? Does everybody know about that yet?
Nope.
It's not public info?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
Oh, I'm just gonna send it. There's no more events committee.
Oh,
Oh, didn't it get like absorbed by something?
It got so it's no longer committee. It's more. Let me pull it up here because I actually saw this earlier. There it is. It's been decided that they will no longer have an events committee. We're going to move on to being a community projects-based team. This move is to make it a more joyful and less stressful process and a more fluid process to make it where members don't feel like they're forced to run events and pressured if they can't. And I kind of agree with it, but it also allows an easier green light process for new ones. Instead of having to run it by the committee and be like, hey, I've got this idea, I want to do it, like I've got everything lined up for it. Can I get your blessing? It's more like, okay, just send it. Like as long as like the admins are cool with it, which they were. It
that
just
sounds
reduces
positive.
the amount of people that need to put in. And I think you're right, Rob. I think it's going to be a good change.
The more cool things you can do, keep an eye out for Tuesday. There's some cool stuff coming to it. But the more cool events that are allowed to happen, the more eyes you bring to the league, and the more cool things that happen, the more involvement there is, and it's just a really positive cycle.
Oh, it's going to be easier for me now to set up a media versus stats committee match.
Oh my god!
I'm doing.
Do they each get 3 representatives or what?
You get the select, like the committee heads have to play, but you get to select two representatives to be with you. And I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't pick a committee. We're rocking because I've got Go Fig and Wolf.
Oh, you're what? Who's on the other one?
What do you mean?
Who else, who would they put up for the match?
I don't all know who's on or for the bench, like for our 4th man.
No, for the other team that you're probably
stats?
playing.
No idea.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, and it's totally not my ego or confidence or anything. But I'm just like, no, it's easy dubs. Let's go.
Yeah, just you wait till I get the former GMs on your ass. We're gonna cook. Don't let me get humming here, bro.
No, dude. Oh my god.
The Jolly Goat.
Season 16. In the off season, when I was thinking about signing with Hum, JoJo, and Hyper were helping Hum and his Chally team warm up, and oh my god, dude, we were nice for the first 2 matches. Game 3 rolls around, nah, JoJo's just like, send it, just bury them real quick. Oh god. Oh man, but K-Flip, what do you think about this events committee thing going away?
honestly, that's really surprising. I really felt like events committee was it seemed like on the surface they were kind of handling things well, but I do understand that it is kind of stressful when sometimes players just don't show up like last minute, and you need to find replacements for them. You probably need to change the bracket because a full team just drops. So I think changing it around is definitely good for both the players and the committee members themselves.
We're doing it. We're doing it. It's gonna happen.
Let's
will
go.
reach out to Monty. I will find casters. I will start making graphics for it too. We're gonna make it happen. Probably. I know it's go.
People's Champ, Tyler D. TD's now a caster in 2's League.
Oh, look at him go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of new casters, in talking with our RCEU, we acquired a new caster. We have Tavish now, who's going to cast for hopefully 1 or 2 of our nights.
There's a British rapper named Clavish who's cool.
For those of you who don't know Tavish, totally understandable. He's the media head for RCEU, but the man is let me pull this up here. I wonder if I can actually stream this for you guys. If you see Tavish in any of the chats, you can actually click on his name when you're not in streamer mode. I am in streamer mode, so I got to take that off real quick so I can see his stuff. It actually he has a link to his Liquipedia page. because he's casted for multiple A-tier events for RLCS, for winter regionals, fall regionals, stuff like that. So we're getting a guy who's got some solid experience, very comfortable on camera, and just 100% going to be a great addition to the RSCNA landscape. And for sure, please give him a warm welcome.
Fuck yeah. Or heck yeah.
Look, man, we can swear here. It's fine. But I think it wraps everything up. We've been going for an hour and 20. Do you guys want to call it there, and we'll go on our merry way, enjoy the rest of our nights?
Shout out everybody that does something for RSC. A lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. Everyone's volunteer. Even though we spent the entire podcast talking about what numbers did wrong, we were struggling to even come up with names, right? Because there's 1,000 players that they place, and they do it so effectively. So, shout out numbers, mods, staff, committees, committee heads, all of the people that do things. Couldn't be here without you. Appreciate everything that you do. That's all.
I heard the beat because the Monster Cat song had the
Hell yeah.
cover on the swear, and I'm like, oh god, did I get censored when I wasn't looking? Come on, my bad. But no, I think it's a good time to call it. We've been going for an hour and 20. I know last week we did a 2-hour stream, and that was rough. So we're just gonna go ahead and call it there for the night. For everybody tuned in tonight, thank you for hanging out. It's been week 16. I've still been Boss Ardala. Name's not changing. I've had Mr. Rob with me, Mr. Juco, Mr. Juco Champ.
Come on, man. They don't make them like me, man. I'm saying, man. I got a whole case for it.
And joining us on the stream for the first time, we've had Mr. KFlip11. KFlip, thanks for being here tonight, man.
Of course. My brain is still dead, but I'm glad to be here.
Hey, no big, man. Well, for everybody else, y'all take it easy. We'll see you next week.